They never expected us to fight back. The aliens came with fire in the skies, ships like floating fortresses blotting out the sun. Entire armies crumbled in days, nations fell in weeks. Humanity was supposed to break, but something happened that no one, not even the invaders, had calculated. We didn't surrender. We didn't run. We changed. It started with one battle. Not in New York or Beijing or London. Those cities were already ash. It began in the ruins of a forgotten town in Arizona. Dust, fire, and silence. Only a handful of survivors remained, clinging to the shadows, hiding from alien patrols. Among them was Captain Elias Grant, a soldier without an army. His uniform was tattered, his rifle dented, but his eyes burned with something no invader could crush: resolve. Beside him crouched Maya Torres, once a medic, now a fighter by necessity. Her hand still shook when she pulled the trigger, but she never looked away. And then there was Kieran Holt, a hacker barely out of his 20s, whose glasses were cracked and whose laptop was powered by car batteries scavenged from wrecks. He wasn't built for war, but war had come anyway. They were nobodies, leftovers, survivors destined to die in the dirt. But fate had other plans. That night, under a blood-red sky, the aliens swept through again, towering figures armored like walking tanks, their weapons spitting plasma that melted steel. Civilians screamed. The ground shook with every step of the giants. And then, the first mistake, one of the aliens dropped something. Not a weapon, not a tool, but a device, small, crystalline, glowing with pulses of light like a heartbeat. Kieran's eyes widened. "That's not standard issue," he whispered. Elias growled. "Doesn't matter. We don't live through tonight unless we move." But Maya grabbed Elias's arm. "Wait, what if that's their weakness? What if the decision was made for them?" An alien spotted their hiding place, its massive arm raising a plasma cannon. Fire lit the night. Elias shoved them both behind cover and returned fire. His bullets sparked harmlessly against alien armor. He didn't care. He roared with every shot, fury louder than fear. And then Kieran ran, not away, toward the glowing device. Plasma blasts scorched the dirt around him, searing his leg, but he didn't stop. He dove, grabbed the crystal, and the world shifted. A shockwave of soundless energy rippled outward. The aliens froze. For the first time since the invasion began, they hesitated. Maya gasped. It's hurting them." Elias's instincts flared. He unloaded his rifle, aiming for the joints in their armor, and this time, the bullet struck home. One alien stumbled. Another howled in a voice like grinding metal, and in that instant, something changed. For months, humanity had been prey, hunted, broken. But that night, in a ruined town with only 3 survivors standing, the predators realized something that made their blood run cold. Humans could adapt. Elias dragged the others into the wreckage of an old diner, the crystal pulsing in Kieran's hands. Outside, the aliens regrouped, snarling in a language no human understood. But they weren't advancing. They were retreating. Elias's chest heaved as he reloaded. "Did you see that?" he whispered. They're afraid." Maya pressed her trembling hands against a wound on Kieran's leg, her voice low. "No, not afraid of us. Afraid of this thing." The crystal pulsed faster, like it was alive, like it was watching, and somewhere above the clouds. In the black belly of a mothership, something stirred, because in that moment, humanity had crossed a line the invaders thought impossible. We had found a weapon, and, for the first time since the war began, the aliens felt fear. The desert was silent after the battle, except for the ragged breathing of the 3 survivors. The crystal glowed faintly in Kieran's hands, its pulse slowing, as if it were resting. Elias stood at the window of the shattered diner, watching the horizon. No alien patrols, no reinforcements. For the first time in months, he wasn't looking at an enemy advancing, he was looking at an enemy pulling back. "They've never done that before," Maya whispered. Her hands were still bloody from patching Kieran's leg. Why would they retreat? Elias's jaw tightened. "Because of that thing," he nodded at the crystal. "Whatever it is, it scares them." Kieran adjusted his cracked glasses, wincing at the burn on his leg. "It's not just a weapon. Look at it. It reacts to them. It's, I don't know, some kind of frequency disruptor or Or maybe it's alive. Maya's eyes flicked nervously to the crystal. Alive. The word tasted wrong. But when she looked at the way it pulsed, like a heartbeat, like breath, she shivered. Before Elias could respond, a low rumble filled the air. Not thunder, not machinery. Something heavier, vibrating through the ground. He gripped his rifle. They're regrouping, but what came wasn't alien. A convoy of battered trucks rolled into view, engines coughing smoke. Men and women clung to the sides, armed with scavenged rifles and shotguns. A human resistance cell. The trucks screeched to a stop, and a tall woman with a scar running from her temple to her jaw leapt down. Her eyes locked on Elias. Captain Elias Grant? He froze. It had been months since anyone had called him by rank. Who's asking? Commander Lin, she said. We've been looking for you. Her soldiers fanned out, eyeing the crystal in Kieran's hands like it was radioactive. And maybe it was. Lin's voice dropped to a whisper. You found one. One what? Elias demanded. Her expression hardened. A key. Maya frowned. Key to what? To the only chance we've got left. Hours later, in the ruins of an underground bunker, the truth spilled out. The resistance had been fighting in shadows, avoiding direct confrontation. But they had theories, rumors, that the aliens weren't invincible. Rumors of strange devices left behind after battles, hidden by the invaders themselves. We've found fragments, Lin explained, unrolling a map littered with symbols, but never intact, never alive. Until now, Kieran placed the crystal on the table. It glowed brighter, resonating with the flickering lights of the bunker. Lin leaned closer. They're not weapons in the way you think. They're command nodes, pieces of their network. They're terrified of us finding them because if we do, we control their systems, Kieran finished, his voice hushed. We could turn their weapons against them. The room went silent. Maya's eyes darted between their faces. So what do we do? Elias answered without hesitation. We fight. The next weeks blurred into war. For the first time, humans weren't just hiding, they were hunting. Small bands of fighters armed with scavenged weapons and carrying the pulsing crystals struck alien patrols and disappeared into the ruins. Each battle was brutal, each victory bought with blood, but each one left the invaders retreating faster. Rumors spread like wildfire. The aliens could be beaten, and for the first time since the invasion began, humanity started to believe, but belief came with a cost. The aliens responded with fury. Cities already in ruins were glassed to ash. Camps of refugees were wiped out overnight. Entire landscapes burned. The message was clear: fear us, or be erased. One night, under the glow of burning mountains, Elias sat sharpening his blade. Maya approached quietly, her face hollow from exhaustion. You can't keep carrying all of this, she whispered. He looked up, his eyes bloodshot. Carrying what? Every death, every loss. You think you're responsible for all of it? He didn't answer. She knelt beside him, her hand brushing his shoulder. Elias, if we win this, it won't be because of you alone. It'll be because of all of us. Remember that. For the first time in days, his hard expression cracked. And if we lose? Her eyes shone with something fragile. Then at least we made them afraid. The turning point came in Nevada. In the ruins of an old military base buried beneath the sands, Kieran's scanners had picked up signals, faint, alien, but connected to the crystal. The base had once been home to secret experiments, and now something inside was calling to the device. As the group advanced through the broken hangars, the ground shook. From the shadows emerged something they hadn't seen before, a new alien. Not armored, not towering, but leaner, faster, eyes glowing like fire. Humanoid in shape, intelligent, and furious. Dozens of them, positions. Elias roared, raising his rifle. The fight exploded like thunder. Plasma bolts hissed through the air. Bullets tore into alien flesh. Maya screamed as one of the creatures lunged, its claws inches from her throat before Elias tackled it, stabbing again and again until the ground was slick with blood. Kieran clutched the crystal, and suddenly it flared, blinding light blasting outward. The humanoid aliens recoiled, howling in agony. "Do it again!" Maya shouted. Kieran gritted his teeth, sweat pouring down his face. "I'm not controlling it. It's controlling me." The crystal pulsed faster, and for an instant, too brief to comprehend, Kieran saw images in his mind. Not human, not alien, a war older than Earth itself. A war the invaders had already lost once. He collapsed, gasping. They're not gods. They're not unstoppable. They've been running from something, and they're afraid we'll find out what. Elias stared down at the bodies of the new species, blood steaming in the cold air. His voice was a growl. Then we make them regret ever coming here. That night, as the survivors licked their wounds and buried their dead, something became clear. The aliens had wanted Earth broken, conquered, tamed. But instead, in trying to crush us, they had done the one thing they never should have. They had given humanity a reason to fight. And now, the fear was theirs. The desert air was sharp and cold, stinking of ozone from burned plasma fire. Beneath the cracked sky, the resistance gathered around the crystal. It glowed steadily now, no longer chaotic, as if it had chosen them. Commander Lin's map stretched across the hood of a rusted truck. Circles marked in red covered half the continent. Alien outposts, strongholds, supply routes. She pointed to the largest circle. This is their control hub. Take that and the whole network collapses. Elias leaned over the map, jaw tight. We don't have the numbers. Lin's scarred face was stone. We don't need numbers. We have the one thing they never expected: fear. The raids began at dawn. Resistance fighters struck with brutal precision, guided by the crystal's strange pulse. It led them like a compass, showing where the invaders were weakest. Convoys of alien supplies went up in fire. Communications towers collapsed into dust. Outposts that had stood for years fell in hours. Maya moved with fire in her eyes, her hand steady on her rifle. Every time she pulled the trigger, she thought of her brother, taken in the first wave. Every shot was for him. Kieran, though limping, grew bolder with the crystal. Sometimes it spoke in whispers only he could hear, flooding his mind with patterns of alien movements. He'd wait gasping, blood on his nose, but always with knowledge they could use. And Elias, he became the spearhead. The soldier who never broke, who charged first and left nothing standing behind. His name spread through the survivors like a legend, the captain who made the monsters run. But legends come with a price. The aliens began to adapt. Their patrols moved faster, their weapons burned hotter. Entire cities were baited as traps. One night, during a raid on a refinery, it happened. The resistance stormed in, expecting another quick strike. But instead of scattered guards, the walls split open. Machines, towering walkers, bristling with weapons, emerged, screeching with alien fury. The battlefield turned into hell. Explosions ripped through the night. Men and women were shredded by plasma fire. The ground shook with every step of the war machines. Maya screamed as she pulled a wounded soldier to cover, blood soaking her arms. "We can't win this!" But Elias, standing in the open, didn't move. His eyes locked on the advancing machine. "Fear," he whispered. Then he charged. Bullets sparked uselessly against the walker's armored shell. But as Elias ran, Kieran raised the crystal high. It pulsed once, twice, and the walker froze mid-stride. Its cannons turned upward, firing wildly into the sky before collapsing in flames. The battlefield went silent, but Elias didn't cheer. He knew what this meant. "They're not retreating anymore," he muttered. "They're escalating." Days later, the survivors gathered in the bunker, battered and hollow-eyed. Lynn slammed her fist on the table. "We can't keep reacting. We take the hub. We end this before they bring more reinforcements." Maya's voice cracked. "And if we fail, how many more cities do they burn for every one of ours?" Kieran spoke softly, his face pale. "It won't matter if we fail. The crystal, it showed me something. They're losing this war. Not just here, everywhere. Earth wasn't their conquest, it was their test. They're trying to see if we can survive what's coming." Silence. Elias leaned forward, eyes like steel. "Then we stop being their experiment. We stop being prey." His voice dropped to a growl. "We show them exactly why they feared humanity in the first place." The night before the final push, the resistance sat in quiet fires. Soldiers sharpened blades, whispered prayers, kissed faded photos of families long gone. Maya sat alone, cleaning her rifle. When Elias approached, "You think we'll make it?" she asked, not looking at him. His silence was long. Finally, he said, "No one survives forever. But if we fall, we make sure they never forget who we were." For a moment her eyes softened. Then she leaned close, whispering, "Then let's make them bleed." At dawn, the assault began. Hundreds of humans, ragged but unbroken, surged toward the alien hub, and waiting for them, shadows moved. Towers lit. The ground split open. The largest army of invaders Earth had ever seen. The battlefield roared alive, and for the first time since the war began. It was not humanity that hesitated. It was the aliens. Because as the humans charged, screaming their rage into the burning sky, the crystal pulsed like a heartbeat. And the invaders realized the truth too late. They hadn't broken Earth. They had forged it. The dawn was red. Not with sunlight, but with fire. The alien hub rose like a fortress of glass and steel, black spires clawing at the sky, humming with unnatural power. Around it swarmed their armies, machines, beasts, and humanoid elites, all waiting for the humans to come. Commander Lin stood at the front line, her eyes hard as stone. "Today," she barked, "we don't fight for survival. We fight to end this." The resistance roared, a sea of broken voices rising into one. Elias adjusted his rifle, gaze fixed on the hub. He could feel it thrumming in his chest, the crystal pulsing in sync, warning him that this was more than a battle. This was the reckoning. The charge began. Humanity surged forward, a tidal wave of desperation and fury. Plasma fire screamed down from the towers, tearing men apart mid-stride. But still they ran. Bullets, arrows, makeshift explosives, every weapon humanity could scavenge thundered back. The battlefield was chaos. Screams, explosions, smoke thick enough to choke. Maya darted through the carnage, her rifle snapping in precise bursts. Every shot was vengeance, every kill was personal. She dove behind rubble, dragging a bleeding soldier with her. "Stay with me. Don't you dare quit on me now!" Kieran stumbled nearby, clutching the crystal as if it might tear him apart. His nose and ears bled freely, his eyes glassy. They're afraid," he gasped, staring at the alien elites bearing down on them. "They know what's coming." The first wave broke, but then the ground trembled. The six-legged beast emerged from beneath the spires, the same monster that had once nearly destroyed them. Only now it had evolved. Its hide was plated in black armor, its jaws wider, its eyes burning with unnatural light. The resistance faltered. Elias stepped forward, face grim. "It's back," the beast roared, a sound that split the sky. Soldiers scattered as it charged, smashing tanks aside, crushing men like insects. Elias raised his rifle, firing into its face. Useless. Maya screamed for him to fall back, but he didn't move. Kieran's voice cracked. "The crystal. It can stop it. But I can't." Elias turned to him. "Then you'll do it. Or we all die here." The battle became a nightmare. Men and women died screaming under the monster's claws. Fire lit the ruins, the hub's spires shaking as if the planet itself was collapsing. Maya crawled through the rubble, firing upward, tears cutting through the grime on her face. "Come on, damn it! We can't lose now." Kieran raised the crystal high. It pulsed brighter than ever, veins of light crawling up his arms, burning his flesh. His scream tore through the battlefield. The beast faltered. Its limbs spasmed, its armored plates shuddering, as if something inside was breaking. "Now!" Elias bellowed. The resistance unleashed everything. Rockets, grenades, bullets, all slamming into the beast's exposed chest. It shrieked once, the sound of a dying world, then collapsed in fire and ash. The humans roared, but Elias didn't celebrate. His eyes were already on the hub. Inside the spires, the truth waited. They broke through heavy doors, climbing over corpses of alien guards. The corridors glowed with human tech, grafted into alien walls, proof of betrayal, proof that Earth's own hands were in this nightmare. At the core, they found it, the control chamber. Screens lit up with images of Earth, satellites, labs, men in suits watching them like pieces on a board. Maya's voice shook. They sent us here. We were never victims. We were test subjects." Elias's fist slammed into the console. Sparks flew. His voice was a growl. "Then we burned their test to the ground." Kieran staggered forward, the crystal fusing into his hand. "It's tied to the portal system. I can send us back. Or I can destroy it all." Maya stared at him. "If we destroy it, we're stuck here forever." Elias looked at the faces around him. Worn, broken, but unbowed. Better stranded free then caged as lab rats. The hub shook violently, alarms wailing. Outside, the battle still raged, the resistance screaming as alien forces surged. Kieran's body trembled as he lifted the crystal. "Tell me, Elias, what do we choose?" The captain met his eyes. "We choose humanity." The crystal pulsed one final time. The spires split. The hub collapsed in fire. The portal roared open, blinding white. The resistance ran toward it, smoke and flame at their heels. One by one, they leapt through, vanishing into light. Elias grabbed Maya's arm, dragging her with him. Behind them, Kieran stood alone, crystal blazing in his chest. He gave a broken smile, blood on his lips. "Tell them," he whispered. "Oh, tell them why they feared us." The light swallowed him whole, and then black silence. The screen flickered with one last question. On the other side of the portal, is it home or another prison?